Hey, leadership community. Oh my gosh, we're there. We've arrived. Where we knew we were going to press the congregation, they have now moved in, right? We've been talking about this generally for a couple months, very specifically for about 3 weeks. And just this week, really, people are like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. They see a giving ladder, a giving calculator. They see big numbers and small numbers and a commitment card and a commitment Sunday. And it's like, I was hoping this was just going to go away, but you're serious. And so now questions start coming. And that's exactly where they should be. The questions may sound critical, they may sound judgmental, they may sound mistrusting. That's fine. It's fine. That's what happens when we start digging into the heart. We start exposing our stuff. Now, that doesn't mean to delegitimize the questions. The questions are totally legitimate. Well, of course you want to ask, has this been thought through? Is that really necessary? Do we need that? How have you spent my money in the past? All legitimate questions. Totally embrace them, answer them to the best that you can. Understanding that the pathway that we want to take is one of deeper heart reflection. Eventually, we want to try to, as leaders, help people engage their heart, not just what's going on out here. What's going on out here is important. It's important that we get on the right path. It's important that we have the right vision, the right purpose, and the right mission. And it's important that we have the right solutions and we have done our homework. That's all very important. But eventually, we have to get to the heart. Catch this, for example, right? We put that calculator out there on the back of the commitment card and it shows some very small numbers and some very big numbers. It's going to be very natural for a person to start to feel sheepish, even embarrassed about where they are on that chart. If you give $100 a month, $50 to $100 a month, you're in the bottom two tiers. No one wants to know that they're in the bottom two tiers. Right? They're gonna be beginning to judge themselves. They're gonna feel embarrassed. They're gonna want to criticize and throw away the whole thing and leave and not come back. Right? Don't turn that light on. Right? And they might also go, wait a minute, you can't possibly expect someone to give this much money. Wait a minute, you mean someone has that much money? Oh my gosh, that's even worse. Right? There's so many issues, and we have to keep bringing back people to this very simple space. Look, you've been trusted with a certain degree of resources. What is your spiritual step? What is your obligation? What is your part with those resources as it relates to what's going on at Vista? That's the only question that really needs to be answered. And it's very, very hard for people to go there. Help them get there, right? The other thing that's happened is we have so many awesome stories about how many of them are yours, about what's happened already in the process. And that's what we're looking forward to doing Tuesday, right? We've invited you. I know there's a bit of a change up. I apologize for that. We realized that it's really going to be powerful for us to get back together again, all together. And that's what we're doing February 21st. Please come. It doesn't matter if you have the process is now behind you and you've made your commitment and you're moving on, or you haven't yet made a commitment and you're struggling to imagine that you will even make a commitment by that night. Please, as leaders, come and be a part of this thing together. It is awesome. There are some great stories, and if your story is not complete yet, it's still a great story. You're moving, you're processing. This is so good. And I want to be together, and I want to be mutually encouraged. Now, we do want to go through the process and the exercise when we get together this next week as a leadership community to actually make our commitments. Right? There'll be some time to process that night if you haven't quite arrived, but I'd like you to be at least almost there. I'd like to, if you're married, to have had those conversations with your wife, your husband, your spouse, right? be close, right? Be considering that. We're asking you to think through and decide what it is you're going to give in total for the next 2 years. In total, all in. What is your contribution going to be? Your regular offering, in addition to anything else that you're considering with regard to these particular reach initiatives, but we just want to put it into one pile and say, here's what I'm doing for the next 2 years, and here's how I'm gonna distribute it. Some of you have already done it and you gave it in one big chunk and you're done. Some of you gave a big chunk and you're not going to change your regular giving. You've already put on top of that with whatever it is. Add it all back together and put it in one number so that we can be accountable to that number together. That's what we want to do. And I want to be able to go into Sunday, the 26th, having your commitments as well as anybody that's made commitments up to this point, and be able to tell the entire congregation, here's where we are already. And here's how the leaders have gone ahead of you in these commitments. That's what we want to do together on February 21st. We want to make those commitments together. And then on the 26th, I want you to join the crowd, lead the crowd actually in their day of commitment. I want you to, although you've already have made a commitment, I want you to make your commitment again publicly with them and lead that crowd together. You can have the same card, you can rewrite the card, you can put a blank card in. It doesn't really matter. I just want them to see you leaders moving on February 26th in the morning at your campus. That's going to be an equally powerful time, but you have to lead the way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you Tuesday night. I apologize for the change up. I think it's going to be a great time to be together. We're going to make those 2-year commitments together that night and lead into the 26th. I really, really, really hope that you can make it. If you don't, if you can't, if it's impossible for you to be there on the 21st, then I anticipate you just kind of leading the way on Sunday morning with your commitment. It's going to be great. These are great times. Faith is being stretched and God is being honored, and you're leading the way, and I love it.